Your name, your money, your country, and next Tuesday do not exist in the atoms. You cannot isolate them in a petri dish. You cannot shovel them into a wheelbarrow. They are entirely, technically, made up. And yet, you would willingly bleed for at least one of them. You are living inside a ghost story. You think reality is concrete. You think it is the pavement under your boots, the steel in the bridge, the heat of the sun on your neck. But that is just the physical world. The physical world doesn't dictate your life. Fictions do. Invisible stories steer your every waking move. You don't panic when a rock falls in the forest. You panic when a stock market line dips in red ink. Red ink that doesn't actually exist. A market that has no physical form. We dismiss things by saying they are just in your head. But the things inside your head are the most dangerous forces on Earth. Let's look at the first phantom. Call it the Phantom Vault. Look at a $20 bill or a €100 note. What is it really? Chemically, the currency you hold is woven from durable cotton, worth a fraction of a cent. But hand it to a total stranger, and they will give you hot food. They will give you shelter. They will give you hours of their own irreplaceable labor. Why? Because of a shared hallucination. Up until 1971, you could at least pretend it was tied to physical gold. Now, it is tied to absolutely nothing. Nothing but a collective promise. It has value only because the person behind you in line believes it has value. It is a massive, multiplayer game of pretend. If everyone stops believing at the exact same second, the wealth vanishes. It doesn't burn. It doesn't fly away in the wind. It simply ceases to exist, like a candle blown out in a dark room. This isn't a theory. It happens. It's called a bank run. When the belief fractures, the entire system collapses in hours. People realize the vault is empty. The only thing guarding your life savings is the imagination of your neighbors. You are trading your literal sweat, your finite time on this planet, for a conceptual token. And you have to. Because without the token, you starve. The fiction is load-bearing. Now step outside. Look at a map of the world. Look at the jagged lines carving up the land masses. Call this the blood geometry. If you view the Earth from orbit, those lines vanish. There is no blue ink separating Canada from the United States. No dashed line between France and Germany. The planet only knows mountains, rivers, deserts, oceans. But those imaginary lines, they are soaked in centuries of blood. Walk across the wrong invisible line without the correct booklet of stamped paper. Men with real guns will put you in a real cage. The border doesn't exist in nature. It was drawn by dead men in rooms you will never enter. But you obey it. You define yourself by it. You sing songs to a piece of colored cloth that represents it. During the Christmas truce of 1914, soldiers climbed out of their freezing trenches. They played football in the mud. They shared cigarettes. They saw the other side as flesh and bone. For one day, the fiction paused. Then, the generals ordered them back into the story, and they resumed shooting each other over an invisible line in the dirt, because the fiction demanded blood to stay real. You are born into a territory, and you adopt its ghost. You become a concept you are willing to kill for, a concept that is entirely in your mind. So why do we do it? Why are we the only species on Earth that hallucinate our reality? It isn't a flaw in your brain. It is the ultimate evolutionary weapon. Enter the Dunbar hack. In the 1990s, anthropologist Robin Dunbar discovered a hard limit wired into the primate brain, 150. That is roughly the limit of stable relationships your brain can effectively maintain. 150 people you actually know, trust, and won't betray. Beyond that number, the system shatters. Strangers become threats. Paranoia sets in. Chimpanzees cannot organize 50,000 apes to build a cathedral. They cannot coordinate millions of individuals to split the atom. When two rival chimp factions meet at a river, they tear each other to pieces. So how do you get 8 billion human apes to live in dense, overlapping cities without a constant bloodbath? You hack the limit. You invent a ghost. You put a third, invisible thing in the room for both apes to look at. A story. If two complete strangers both believe in the fiction of a corporate contract, they will trade. If they both believe in the fiction of traffic laws, they will stop at a painted red octagon. Even at 3 in the morning, even when the road is completely empty. The story is an invisible tether. It scales human trust from 150 to infinity. You trust a stranger to prepare your food, not because you know them, but because you both believe in the fiction of the health inspector. You sleep soundly on an airplane at 30,000 feet because you believe in the fiction of an aviation authority. Cooperation requires myth. We are kept alive by a massive, overlapping web of shared mythology. But the deepest fiction isn't geopolitical. It isn't economic. It is the one staring back at you in the mirror. Call it the identity trap. Say your first name out loud. Say it again. Keep repeating it until the syllables dissolve into meaningless noise. That sound isn't you. It is just a label your parents invented to get your attention across a crowded room. But over time, that sound calcified into a rigid box. You built an entire personality around a string of vowels. Without, You attached a profession to it. I am an engineer. I am a mother. I am a failure. But you are none of these things. They are just the roles you agreed to play to keep the grand hallucination running. Think of a patient with severe amnesia. The physical body is perfectly intact. The heart beats. The lungs breathe. But the character vanishes. The history, the crippling anxieties, the bitter grudges, all gone, erased in an instant, because the you that keeps you awake at night, the you that worries about its legacy, that is a story too. A frantic narrative you constantly whisper to yourself just to make sense of the void. This is the exact moment most people feel a cold, hollow dread. If everything is made up, then nothing matters. Everything is a lie. But nihilism is the wrong conclusion. It is a coward's conclusion. When you realize the walls of your prison are made of paper, you don't sit down and cry. You push your hand right through them. Made up does not mean fake. It means sacred. These invisible structures are load-bearing. They are the only thing keeping the roof of civilization from collapsing on our heads. They stay real because every single morning, billions of us wake up and silently agree to hold our corner up. The sheer, terrifying power of that choice is staggering. You are a god walking through a world of your own collective creation. Your money, your borders, your identity. They are tools. They are not your masters. When a story no longer serves you, you have the ultimate, unquestionable permission to rewrite it. You do not have to carry the ghosts of dead men into tomorrow. You can choose which fictions to invest your limited heartbeats into. You can drop the narratives that make you small. You can hold up the ones that build bridges. The universe gave you atoms, but you get to decide what they mean.
Probably.